once again in this new session where we are discussing important topics of social science, particularly the topics of geography. And in today's session we will discuss about earthquake. What does the earthquake imply, and the different types of earthquake waves. As we are familiar about the earthquakes, earthquake generally means shaking of the earth. Due to faults in the tectonic plates beneath the surface of the earth, we know the energy gets released, and we experience that sort of energy in terms of earthquake. But this is the general definition so far as the earthquake is concerned. As we all know that earthquake makes an enormous damage to life, property, and causes great destruction of man and animals. So, in order to understand the earthquake, we must understand its different types of waves. Generally, the earthquake is divided in three different dimensions or three different types: primary waves, P waves, S waves, and surface waves. P waves are also called primary waves. S waves are also known by secondary waves, and the last one is the surface waves. Now, what the primary waves imply, or what do you mean by primary waves? We are discussing the question in respect of both the MCQs and the long answer type question. So primary waves are the first waves which report on the surface of the earth. For example, when the earthquake initiates, as we all already know that the earthquake initiates, for example, the point where the earthquake initiates, that's known as forks beneath the surface of the earth. Where the earthquake gets initiated beneath the surface of the earth, that particular point is known as the forks. And the point on the surface of the earth where it originates, that is known as the epicenter of the earthquake. These 2 points we must understand, we must remember that the initiation of the earthquake beneath the surface of the earth, that is known as the forks, and the point where the earthquake originates on the surface of the earth or above the surface of the earth, that's known as the epicenter of the earth, and which is recorded by the seismograph or the Richter scale. We measure this intensity of the earthquake through Richter scale. So, the primary waves, these are first waves which report on the surface of the earth, and these primary waves or P waves, they travel all through by gases, liquid or solid components or materials. As I have already written that these are the similar to sound waves and they travel through gaseous, liquid and solid materials. Primary waves are those types of waves which travel through gases, liquid and solid materials. And number second is the S waves, which are also called as secondary waves. These secondary waves, they report on the earth with some time lag. Or in simple words, we can say that they report on the earth or the surface of the earth after the origination of or after the initiation of the primary waves. So we can say that, and one more point about the S waves or the secondary waves is that they can travel only through the solid materials. S waves, secondary waves, they travel only through the solid materials. And the last one is the surface waves. Surface waves are those types of waves which report on the earth after the initiation of the primary and secondary waves. Two most important points which we have to remember regarding the surface waves is that they are most destructive in nature. As we experience or we have read or heard about the loss of life and loss of animals or the loss of things all around or different parts of the world due to earthquake, and the primary cause behind them are these surface waves because they are most destructive in nature and they cause a lot of damage to man, animal and property of the humans. So we can say that surface waves are the last to report on the seismograph. These waves are most destructive in nature and causes displacement of rocks and hence the collapse of structures. So we must remember these three major types of earthquake waves in terms of primary waves, secondary waves and surface waves. And in terms of earthquake, as I have already told you, earthquake generally, the general definition of the earthquake, we must remember that it is the shaking of the earth or the fault which occurs in beneath the surface of the earth in the tectonic plates, which releases the energy, and that energy we experience on the earth in terms of earthquake. So this is all for in this session, and I will come up with next session with next important topic. Until then, take care. Goodbye.